I have seen loads of posts on social media where people post a photo of a room in their house and they say they've done loads of decluttering but they're still not happy with the way it looks. So today I'm bringing you 10 things that you may want to do to help your space look less cluttered. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. Today we are going to talk about why your space might still look cluttered even if you feel like you've done loads of decluttering and you've significantly reduced the number of items you've got in your home or in a particular space. Now before we start, let's remember that our homes are lived in. So what you see on Instagram and what you see on Pinterest is not what a house that is lived in looks like. You will probably find that before that photo was taken, the person that lives there has quickly tidied up just that space that they want to appear in the photo, and all the mess that was left around they've probably just put behind the camera where you can't see it. So please do not feel like you have to compare yourself to insta-perfect photos of homes. Your home is lived in, you live there and you use it every single day of your life. So please don't feel bad if you have some stuff left out and that you've kept items that you love and that you use all the time, because that is just what humans do. Please don't compare your space to photos on Instagram and Pinterest. Though, that being said, there is absolutely no reason why we can't aim for really gorgeous spaces. If that's something you're looking for and clutter is really stressful for you, then there's no reason why we can't aim high and have a really clutter-free and calming space. So here are my 10 tips or things to try or things to check that you are doing to ensure your space looks clutter-free. If you've got any sort of storage furniture that is open, so bookshelves, cabinets that don't have doors on them, cupboards or cabinets with glass doors, anything where you can see the contents of that storage furniture, make sure that it is not overpacked and that it's arranged in an aesthetically pleasing way, if you like. Things that come to mind for me are really overcrowded bookcases where the person absolutely loves books, they don't want to declutter books, and they've got a ceiling high tall bookcase and it is just full of books. Not only are they filed across the shelf, but they've used all the shelves and they've even squeezed a few in on their sides to make the most of that space. If you've got an overcrowded and untidy looking shelf, cupboard, anything that doesn't have doors to conceal what's inside, that will make your space feel more cluttered. One tip is to remove any of the items that you're not planning on using immediately. So when it comes to a bookshelf, I remove books I've finished reading and only leave the ones that I am either yet to read or that I know that I will refer back to pretty regularly or I want to revisit it soon. So if you have got open shelving and open storage of any kind, declutter it, remove anything that doesn't really need to be there. And remember, empty space can be very aesthetically pleasing. So if you've got a shelf that is completely empty or you decide to pop a plant or a candle on it rather than cramming it with books, that will look so much better. Next is mismatched colours and styles. One thing that for me makes a room really calm is sticking to a colour palette. Now that does not mean you have to be, boring. I think my taste is particularly boring. Pretty much all the walls in my house are this colour, but that doesn't mean you have to be. Try to stick within a colour palette. So if you have, let's say, your walls painted a particular colour, then have features that complement that within the room. Maybe cushions or curtains or a rug or something that just complements it. Not lots of different colours all over the place. There's nothing wrong with loving really bold, bright colours. Some people think that to be a minimalist you can't, and to achieve that minimal aesthetic you can't. That's absolutely not true, but I would say just stick within a colour palette, use colours that complement each other. If you'd rather keep it more basic, more neutral, but you would still like a pop of colour, consider having a feature wall in the room and then just slide elements of that colour or similar colours from the same colour palette throughout the room. It means you can still incorporate colour and you don't just have to have, a white room. You can definitely have colour, but it's not too in your face. And the same goes for styles. If you're going for a more modern style, then stick to it. Sometimes it can be nice to have a quirky, old-fashioned piece in the room. That can sometimes really work, like that it's deliberately put there. But if you've gathered furniture pieces, you know, throughout the decades, and this is from the 70s, but this is from the 90s, and this is really modern, it's gonna sort of not work together and make the room feel all sort of disconnected, which can make it feel more cluttered. So try to keep within a style. And I just want to clarify, by that I don't mean that you have to have all your furniture matching from the same line. Like, you don't have to have all your living room furniture from the same line from the same store, and then all your bedroom furniture from the same line and from the same store. I don't mean like that, but make sure they suit each other in terms of the style. You can mix pieces together that are still of a similar style, and it will just make the room feel more together. Another thing in this area is also storage boxes. A lot of us that like to keep things more tidy and organized will use storage boxes throughout our houses, or storage bags, storage bins. I'm not talking necessarily those massive ones that you store your Christmas decorations in. I'm talking about those small ones that you can put in cupboards or in drawers, or even just out somewhere to gather items together. Try to get those as coordinated as possible. I've seen a lot of wardrobe makeovers posted on social media by people where they say, again, I've decluttered it, but it just doesn't look good. And that'll be because they'll have sort of an old plastic red storage box at the top, and then they'll have like a fabricy zip up one on the next shelf, and then like a wicker one, and they're all different and they just don't match. Loads of different styles when used on their own can look brilliant, but they just look terrible when they're mixed together. So if you're into having bright coloured storage and plastic storage, then great, but have the bright colours that all coordinate together made of the same material. If you want wicker ones, then have wicker ones, but make sure they coordinate and they match. If they're all over the place, it just looks a mess. This next one is so simple, but again, it's another one I see so often on social media when people say, what's wrong with my space? There's nothing in it, so what's wrong with it? And their sofa is just a mess. If you've got cushions and blankets and stuff on your sofa, great, I love those things, but tidy them up, straighten them up. Don't just have them scattered all over the place, and don't overcrowd. There is such a thing as too many cushions. If you're not the sort of person that's going to take the time to prop them up and make them look neat, don't go mad, don't have too many. But if you want your living room to look tidy, it's very similar to making your bed. Your bedroom looks a mess until you've made your bed, and just making your bed makes all the difference. It's the same with cushions and blankets on your sofa. Don't leave them all messy. If you're done sitting down, tidy the area quickly. It will only take you maybe a minute to do. Plump up your cushions, straighten out your blankets, and you are good to go. But it does make a huge difference. A messy sofa makes for a messy living room. My next one is that you don't need every type of furniture or every type of decorative item in a room. This comes to mind because this was actually a recent challenge for me. I have been wanting to get some artwork to go on the wall in my living room, and I also saw a mirror, and I thought, oh, a mirror would look lovely on the wall. And in my head for a while I was like, well, I could just have both. You don't necessarily need both. It can become too much, too crowded, you can be overdoing it. So even though I saw this gorgeous mirror, I knew I wasn't going to buy it because I had already got my heart set on having some artwork, and both of them were just, it was too much. It would have been too crowded. And I see this in lots of rooms. People that have a dining room and feel like they have to have a cabinet or a sideboard or something in there, whether it's for extra storage or even just for decoration. It's not necessary unless you've got something to put in it or a genuine reason why you need this item. Don't feel like you have to have it in the room. I see bedrooms that have chairs in them. Again, if you need a chair in your bedroom for whatever reason, then great. But if you don't need a chair and you're comfortable sitting on your bed to do whatever it is you needed the chair for, then you don't need the chair. Do you need a TV in your room? The answer might be yes, the answer might be no. The fewer big furniture items in the room, the less cluttered it's going to be. I have a goal myself to eventually remove the 2 cupboards I have in my living room once I've decluttered enough stuff from there, because it will really open up the space. I'm using them for now, but I'm hoping eventually not to have so much stuff that I don't actually need to keep those. Larger furniture items really are the things that are going to crowd a room. They're not tiny little decorative items, they are big and they take up space. So whether your room is already overcrowded and you can let go of some stuff, or always bear in mind when you're about to make a furniture purchase, how that is going to work in the room you're putting it in. Is it going to overcrowd the room and make it look really cluttered, or will it actually work, be useful and add to the look of the room. The next few are very specific to certain rooms and certain areas of the house. You may or may not do these. If you do them, it is just something to consider whether not doing them could make your space look less cluttered. So my next one is to not leave the dinner table set. And I don't mean with, plates and bowls and glasses and things. I just mean your mats, your serving mats, your coasters. Don't leave them out. They make the table look untidy. A clear table looks far less cluttered than one that still has the mats out. So stack your mats up and either put them to one end of the table if they don't have a location to store them in your home, or if they do, just pop them away where they belong. It takes seconds to take them out and set the table next time you need them. So if you would rather have a clutter-free looking space rather than saving yourself a few seconds each day, then I would suggest you put those away. I know it can be very tempting when you see in department stores, furniture stores, or even show homes where you see the beautifully laid tables and they've got the plate and then the smaller plate and the bowl and the wine glass with the serviette in it, and it all looks gorgeous and fancy. It's just not practical. Those items sat there are going to get dust in them. I wouldn't want to eat off of servingware that has been just sat out. And the same goes for your little coasters and mats. They're not needed, they don't need to be left out, so let's put them away. In your kitchen, minimize the amount of items that go on your countertops. And I really want to emphasize here your utensils, your cooking utensils. Some people have the pot with like their spatulas and big serving spoons in. Some people have a knife block on their counter. I put all of those things away in my cutlery drawer. Now, I know some people are a little bit concerned when it comes to knives because it can blunt them by putting them away. I keep mine in a separate section in the cutlery drawer so they're not bashing up against everything else and the blades aren't actually resting on anything. So I am not concerned at all about putting my knives and other utensils away in the drawer. It just clears space on your countertop. And the same goes for small appliances or other things you use regularly. When I was measuring my food intake at one point, I used to keep my scales out on the countertop because I was weighing out food near enough for every meal and I just got sick of looking at them. So I cleared the bottom shelf in one of my cupboards so I can literally just pop it in and take it out with ease so it doesn't have to stay out. And I do the same thing for the majority of my appliances. I use my blender frequently, but I still put it away in a cupboard so it's not out on the counter. The only things I have out, one is my toaster, and that's because I don't have the cupboard space to put it away, so I have to make my peace with that. And the other one is my kettle, same thing. So where you can, really clear your countertops and put stuff away in cupboards and drawers, particularly all those utensils. The next one is to keep your media center or the area around your TV, whatever you use, neat and tidy, and that includes the cords. Make sure cords are hidden behind the back. There are some organization items that you can use to tidy them up down the back. Personally, I just have a bit of trunking that hides my cords and it's very minimal and does the job. But also, don't keep that area a mess. If you've got games consoles, make sure they've got their designated space and that the controllers can go away somewhere and the games are not just left on the top and left out. Same with DVDs, don't leave the case out. If you're watching a DVD, then that's fine, but after you're done, put it away and then it's not cluttering up your space. These things can really stack up if left unattended. Things like remote controls for your TV, find somewhere that they can go when they're not in use. Let's not just have stuff lying about because it really does add to clutter. Next is to try to avoid having loose items everywhere. Things that come to mind for me are your keys when you come in from work. Does that have a designated spot? For me, that's just in my handbag, which gets put away. But for my husband, he doesn't have a handbag, so he needed somewhere for his to go. So we actually have just a small gold bowl where you can drop keys and other bits and pieces when you come in at the end of the day. And if that doesn't sound like something you want to have out, which I did not want to have that bowl on display, then just pop that bowl away. We just open our cupboard in the living room and pop the bowl away, and we always know where it is. It's very easy to access. and it keeps things tidy and organized. And group like items together. If you've got, like I've already mentioned, a lot of games controllers or remote controls, consider using a little storage basket of some sort where you can just pop all of those controllers in together, group the like items together, and it really does just tidy up the space rather than having them floating about all over the place. In the bedroom, don't over-clutter your nightstand. Don't treat it as a dumping ground. On mine, I just have a plant and then practical things like my lamp is on my nightstand, and I generally keep a book there if I've not accidentally left it downstairs after reading it. Generally speaking, my book will also be on my nightstand. Nothing else really needs to be there. Some things that happen to come across my nightstand would include a coaster, my jewellery, but all of these things can be put away somewhere else. So if my coaster's been left out and I've had a cup of tea in the morning, I just take that coaster and pop it in the drawer, I put it away. My jewellery I put away in my dresser so that they're all out of the way and not just hanging around. I think a lot of things we do where we leave things out, I mentioned it with the placemats, for example, we do it for convenience. We think, well, if I leave it out, then I've not got to bother getting it out next time. And if I leave my jewellery on the side, it's just quick and easy to put it on the next day. But really putting it away and getting it out takes a matter of seconds. It's not a really long, laborious job. If I want to walk the 2 meters across my room and put my jewellery on from my dresser in the morning, that takes just a few seconds longer than lifting it off my nightstand to put it on, and at least it wasn't left out and in the way. I know it's safely put away where it won't get lost or damaged, and it's just easy. Everything's organised and I know where it is. And my last one is if you've got a desk that you can work at, whether it's just for writing, sitting and working out, or if you've got a computer or a laptop, tidy away your papers at the end of the day when you're finished working. Don't leave your papers and your journals and your pens and everything left out because, again, you're going to use them tomorrow. It means the space looks cluttered if you tidy your space and just pop those things away in a drawer, probably in your desk, so it's literally just there within reach. And then when you start the next day, you'll have a fresh space to work in and you'll be motivated and ready to start. I always find I am far less productive when I've got an untidy desk, so it's great to start the day on a clean and tidy desk and really get motivated to do a good job. And that's it. Those are my 10 tips, things to watch out for or things to try if you feel like your space is still looking a bit cluttered. Not all of these tips will apply to every single person. It might just be that 1 or 2 do, or you might find a whole load of them do. But still remember, your space is something you live in. It doesn't have to look like a picture you'd see on Instagram. And also bear in mind that minimalism is far more than a look or an aesthetic. There's a lot more to minimalism than just the way your house is presented. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.